Music can be a comfort for the melancholic but may sound like criticism to the sad, and it may not be good or bad for those with deaf ears. If you watch today's video, you can learn about Spinoza, known as the Christ of philosophy, who derived philosophy from theology. We will explore Spinoza's thoughts on the existence of God. One clear fact we must know is that the world we live in, nature, does not exist by chance. It exists through constant and inevitable principles. Nature exists through divine nature. According to Spinoza, God did not create the world and nature to make what he wanted. Humans, unlike God, are beings who feel lacking. Therefore, they need the desire and will to fill that void, and they need intellect to fill that void. But God does not. If God were to think and desire something, he would become an imperfect being like humans. If God were to feel lacking and want to fill it, and think to do so, then he would no longer be God. God is a complete being who lacks nothing, so it is not right to view him based on will and intellect. Will and intellect are the same thing. If God exists, then the world of nature exists inevitably. Here, inevitability does not mean a predetermined fate. It means that nature exists to function according to certain principles. God is perfect, so nature is inevitable. This world was not created by God's intelligence and will. Endless things happen in this world through the inevitable principles of nature. And they are created that way. God is an inevitable being without intellect or will. Therefore, viewing good and evil based on God's will and punishment is foolish. Good and evil cannot arise from nature. What is good or bad is determined by humans and society. If someone dies in a traffic accident, can we say that they received punishment for their wrongdoing, or that God punished them? It is impossible to determine the essential cause of why that person suffered from a traffic accident. If the cause of the accident was speeding, then why did they speed? Perhaps it was because they woke up later than usual. Why did they wake up later than usual? Perhaps because they had to work overtime yesterday. This questioning of the essential cause of why that person experienced a traffic accident will never end. Viewing God as having will and intellect that decides good and evil is a contradiction that falls into a trap of an incomplete existence. Therefore, the final judgment does not exist. Even if the world perishes tomorrow, I will not think of it as punishment for my sins, but rather I will humbly accept it and plant an apple tree. In fact, the apple tree story is not something Spinoza directly mentioned. However, there is no problem in using it as a concise representation of his thoughts. So, what should we do and how should we do it? We should not live our lives against God's will, but instead, we should rationally explore the inevitable principles of natural actions. This Spinoza philosophy leads to the scientific rationalism and Enlightenment thought. The noblest action humans can achieve is to learn to understand. By understanding, they become free. Don't cry, don't get angry, just understand. That was the story of the Christ of philosophy, Spinoza. I hope this video has been a valuable and meaningful time for you. Thank you for watching.